Genesis chapter 6, starting in verse 9, reading through 11, verse 32. Yep, but it's got the notification. Vine Community Church is now live. Let me get this there. All right. Everything coming good on your end over there? All right, good. Good deal. All right, guys, you ready to read? Ready to jump in? Let's do it. Let me get my stuff out of the way here so I won't strain my eyeballs trying to read this. And I'm just going to start in, I know we're starting in 9, but I'm just going to start from the beginning and read down because it's only a few verses. It says, "And it came to be when men began to increase on the face of the earth and daughters were born to them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were good, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And Jehovah said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever in his going astray. He is flesh, and his days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of Elohim came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name. And Jehovah saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every indication of thoughts in his heart was all only evil continually. And Jehovah was sorry." Oops, I hate when it does that. Get back over here. "And Jehovah was sorry that he made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And Jehovah said, I am going to wipe off man, whom I have created from the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature, and birds of the heavens. For I am sorry that I made them." In verse 8, "But Noah found favor in the eyes of Jehovah." This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generation. Noah walked with Elohim. And Noah brought forth 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the earth was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. Elohim looked upon the earth and saw that it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And Elohim said to Noah, The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And see, I am going to destroy them from the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, and make rooms in the ark, and cover it with an outside, and an outside with a covering. And this is how you are to make it. The length of the ark is 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make a window for the ark, and complete to a cubit from above, and set the door of the ark in its side. Make it lower, second and third decks. And see, I myself am bringing floodwaters on the earth to destroy all flesh, in which the breath of life is from under the heavens. All that is on the earth is to die. And I shall establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you and your sons, and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. And all the living of all flesh, 2 of each, you are to bring into the ark, to keep them alive with you, a male and a female. Of the birds after their kind, and the cattle after their kind, and of all creeping creatures of the ground after their kind, 2 of each are to come to you, to keep them alive. As for you, take all the food that is eaten and gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. And Noah did according to all that Elohim commanded him, and so he did." Chapter 7, verse 1. "And Jehovah said to Noah, Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Of all the clean beasts take with them you 7 pairs, a male and a female. Of the beasts that are unclean, 2, and a male and his female. And of the birds of the heavens 7 pairs, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of the earth. For after 7 more days I am sending rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and shall wipe from the face of the earth all that stand that I created. And Noah did according to all that Jehovah commanded him. Now Noah was 600 years old when the floodwaters were on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of the clean beast, and of the beasts that are unclean, and of the birds and all that crept on the earth, 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as Elohim had commanded Noah. And it came to be after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd new moon, the 17th day of the moon, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the heavens were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, so that the same day Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, and the sons of Noah and Noah's wife and all the 3 wives of his sons were with them, went into the ark. They and every life from after its kind, every beast after its kind, every creeping creature that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, and every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark. They went into the ark to Noah, 2 by 2, of all flesh, in which is the breath of life. Verse 16, and those going in, male and female of all flesh, went in as Elohim had commanded him, and Jehovah shut him in. And the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. And the waters were mighty and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters were exceedingly mighty on the earth, and all the high mountains under all the heavens were covered. The waters became mighty, 15 cubits upwards, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died, the creeping creature on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts, and every swarming creature that swarms on the earth, and all mankind, and all in whose nostrils was the breath of the spirit of life. All that was on the dry land died. So he wiped off all that stand which were on the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature and bird of the heavens, and they were wiped off from the earth. And only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. And the waters were mighty on the earth 150 days. All right, chapter 8. And Elohim remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And Elohim made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. And the fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were stopped, and the rain from the heavens was withheld. And the waters receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of the 150 days the waters diminished. And in the 7th new moon, the 17th day of the new moon, the ark rested on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased steadily until the 10th new moon. In the 10th new moon, on the 1st day of the new moon, the tops of the mountains became visible. And it came to be at the end of the 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark in which he had made, and sent out a raven, which kept going out and turning back until the waters had dried up on the earth. Then he sent out a dove from him to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for its feet, and returned into the ark to him. For the waters were on the face of the earth. So he put out his hand and took it, and pulled it into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out from the ark. And the dove came to him in the evening, and see, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in its mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. And he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, and which did not return to him again. And it came to be in the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the new moon, that the waters were dried up from the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and saw the surface of the ground was dry. And in the 2nd new moon, on the 27th day of the new moon, the earth was dry. And Elohim spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every life from all flesh that is with you, of birds and of cattle and all creeping creatures, the creeping creatures on the earth, and let them teem on the earth, and bear and increase on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping creature, every bird, whatever creeps on the earth according to their kind, went out of the ark. And Noah built a slaughter place to Jehovah, and took of every clean beast and of every clean bird, and offered ascending offerings on the slaughter place. And Jehovah smelled a soothing fragrance, and Jehovah said in his heart, Never again shall I curse the ground because of man, although the inclination of man's heart is evil from his youth, and never again strike all living creatures as I have done. And as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. I think we were reading to 11, that's right. But you know what we're going to do is we're going to stop there instead of reading all of it. Let's so we don't jump all over this Torah portion. So we'll pick back up in 9 in here in a minute. So from 6 to 8, what does anybody have they want to say? Any comments? And let me just say this also, if you're new to Zoom with us, I think most of the people on here are not. but please make sure you raise your hand if you're on Zoom, that I can visibly see your hand, either on the little corner where it pops up. Here with us, we have a microphone set up, so we're not passing the mic the entire time. So if you have something to say, just get up and walk to the mic. Okay? Real simple. Go ahead, Mitch.
I've been studying this week on the word grace. We use grace. The Hebrew word is chen. And this is the first instance that we see it in the Bible in Genesis chapter 6, where it says, and Noah found chen in the eyes of the Lord. Another interesting thing, if you turn Noah's name around, it's the same letters as chen. It's Noach. It's a het and a nun. So if you put the nun first and then the het, you get Noach. But the meaning of the word chen, that we use grace a lot, and it's not a word that we use in an average day conversation unless we're talking about our insurance company giving us grace, or, a traffic ticket, the judge gives us grace or something like that. We can understand it. But the word really points to the basic meaning of it means to incline forward, or and it also is tied in with the idea of camping. If you add a mem to the front of it, it's mekanah, it's the camp. And so it's a place of protection, because the het is a wall, and the nun is a picture of life continuing. So it's a protection of